Hello everyone, welcome to EduTerrain and a warm good evening to you all or good afternoon to you all. So yesterday we are going to see yet another interesting scheme and one of the most important flagship schemes of India, where now this particular scheme has made India stand as one of the top. Go through it later as well, and I hope my voice is audible and screen is visible. Video का अभी भी दिक्कत है, I'm still working on that. It will take time. Otherwise, I hope everything is clear. And if you have any queries, keep on asking me even in between the session as well. Now, the Startup India scheme. This was launched on 16th Jan 2016. Okay, majorly to support entrepreneurs. When we talk about startups, the name itself suggests it is something at a nascent stage. That is, the businesses are in a nascent stage or the initial stages, and with this support we'll be able to support the entrepreneurs to build a startup ecosystem, that is providing them with some support, mentorship, financial assistance and various other inputs or handheld programs, so that they can come forward, youth can come forward and provide solutions to the problems that is being faced by the society in various sectors by taking up those challenges as a business point. And this will help transform India into a country of job creators rather than the job seekers. And the primary objective of this particular scheme or program is the promotion of startups, and obviously that will lead to generation of employment, that again will provide us with the job creation, and this all will further lead to wealth creation, because more business we can come up, or we can take orders and come out with the business opportunities and wealth creation. And which is the implementing ministry or the nodal agency for this? The implementing ministry is the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, which is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is the implementing ministry, and this would be the nodal agency or the implementing agency for this particular program. Now, since the start of the session, I have been talking about this is Startup India scheme. We are trying to promote startups. Now, what exactly is a startup? Yes, there is a particular definition given by DPIIT when it comes to startup. Now, startup is one where the period of existence and operations should not exceed 10 years from the date of incorporation. Company should be as a private limited company, a registered partnership firm, or a limited liability partnership. Any of these cadres of or categories of companies can be considered as a startup, provided it fulfills other criteria as well, like the age. It should not exceed 10 years right from its date of incorporation, that is the day when it has been incorporated or registered. Annual turnover, it should not exceed 100 crores for any of the financial year since its incorporation. Only then we can consider it as a startup. Agar full turnover hai, अच्छा सा income hai, they don't need any support, right? Here we are going to provide the support for those startups who are struggling especially. Original entity, and the entity should not be formed by splitting up or reconstructing already existing business. It should be a new venture, greenfield you can say. Innovative and scalable, the product that they are working upon should be innovative in any of the sectors, and it also should be scalable, that is further they should be able to improve or increase the business on a large scale. ऐसा नहीं है कि बस छोटे में ही रह गए and local catering. No, it should cater to the large scale. So it should be scalable, at the same time there should be innovation in the product. Now, when we talk about these other criteria based on which we can say, okay, a particular organization or a company is a startup. Now, how is this Startup India scheme going to help these startups that we have just now discussed? Now, there are three major pillars or three major ways through which Startup India scheme will help the startups. So, one, simplification and hand-holding. Like when it comes to environmental laws or the labor laws, few of them, not all, these they can self-declare them. For example, this is this will help them what, rather than caught up in the this bureaucracy and going for various certifications and all that. If they can self-certify, that will help them simplify their business operations. So here comes a simplification. Hand holding, various mentorship programs, various initiatives are being taken up so that we can hand hold them, so that whatever the small idea that they have, that can be made into a large scale, that can be marketable, so as to give them a help, push, you can say. Funding and incentives, yes, lots of funds are being provided to them. Financial aspect, one of that is the स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम, जो कल हमने देखा है. और भी कई सारे ऐसे स्कीम्स या प्रोग्राम्स है वेर इन वी आर ट्राइंग टू प्रोवाइड देम विथ फंडिंग्स एंड अलॉन्ग विद दैट इंसेंटिव्स like exemption on the income tax, capital gain tax for the eligible startups, etc. We'll discuss all this. Incubation, now incubation, wherein there will be few organizations, they'll try to take up this idea and see how this can be taken on a large scale. This all, whatever that I have written here, this all is done by the incubators, and majority of these incubators are being promoted by the industry academia partnership, so that the colleges or the universities are trying to come up with these, or institutions or organizations, they are majorly coming up with these various incubation centers, thereby to test that idea and see how that can be made into a large scale, or how that can be scaled up and marketed on a large scale. So if any question is asked as to what are the major pillars of support for startups, these are the three major pillars. So sometimes in few literature you can also say they'll also give as four pillars. 1, simplification and hand holding. 2, funding and incentives. 3, incubation. And 4, industry academia partnerships. Either way, it's the same thing only. Okay, now I have said ye pillars hai. Now these pillars, they have to work out through various initiatives. That all initiatives they have put under a 19-point action plan. Now this 19-point action plan further boils down to create or to come up with various initiatives, components, programs that will provide justification to these 19 points, which focuses on the startup India. So यही एक 19 points है based on which the entire web of startup India has been woven in simpler terms. Now let's have a quick look at this 19-point action plan. Okay, first, compliance regime based on self certification. Just now we have discussed थोड़ा सा easy way करने के लिए simplification and hand holding pillar में, this one comes under that only, to reduce the regulatory burden on startups, thereby allowing them to focus on their core business and keep compliance cost low. For the first 3 to 5 years, few of the compliances they can self-certify. Like as I've earlier said, labor laws, 9 labor laws are there, and 3 environmental laws. From the date of incorporation, for 3 to 5 years, these startups, they can self-certify these. Thereby they need not go again to the offices, and again even if they have to apply on portal also, that will again take up their time. That they can reduce, thereby allowing them to focus on their core business. Okay, 1. Startup India Hub. This has been majorly launched in 2017 to provide mentorship, support, financial assistance. They indirectly they won't be able to provide financial assistance, but they'll show the way, which are those organizations or institutions or channels through which these startups can avail funding. So it is a single point of contact for the entire startup ecosystem, which enables knowledge exchange, access to funding, everything. So the startups have to get themselves registered under this Startup India Hub. Thereby from there they can get access to all these mentorship, financial assistance, support, everything. Okay, Rolling out of mobile app and portal. Now, a mobile app for this startup India and a portal is also launched. This will help as a single platform for startups for interacting with government and regulatory institutions, so that whatever the requirements for all their business needs and information that is required for them to run their businesses smoothly can be done. Okay, so here all the stakeholders would be provided onto one platform. Legal support and fast tracking patent examination at lower cost. See, when we talk about this intellectual property rights, IPRs, etc., that's actually legally also legal cost and other costs are very high for that. Okay, so in order to promote the awareness and adoption of IPS, कई बार ऐसा होता है, these startups they must be having a very good idea. Now once they have that idea, they try to try to venture out into the open market. So what will happen? Somebody would copy that immediately, and if they have good amount of money, investment, etc., they'll take it up on a large scale immediately, and that creates loss for the one actually who has invented or discovered that. So to avoid that, and in order to create the awareness and adoption of these intellectual property rights, whatever the property that has been designed because of their intelligence, they should have the right on that, first right. Even if others, it's not that others can't use, but at least whenever they use, they have to pay royalty to them, because it is their idea because of which others are able to use that. So they'll help in protecting and commercializing these IPRs as well, by providing access to high quality intellectual property services, resources, including fast track examination of patent applications and rebate in fees as well. Here in this case, they are providing 80% rebate in filing the patents and 50% rebate when they are going to file for their trademarks. This way, statutory fees जो है वो सब they have to bear, but on the others where they are making income, the government is making income, on that they are providing rebate to these startups. These are all the initiatives, all these points, they are exclusively for the startups, and we have already discussed what exactly a startup is, right? Relaxed norms of public procurement for startups. Now when we talk about the General Finance Rules 2017, procurement should be done based on some rules and regulations, okay, by the government ministries, etc. But the thing is, when such when such things are to be done, what happens? Even if the MSME or any organization is young, maybe they're not able, they do not have such experience, or maybe they're not able to meet that rules or that set of standards. But yes, they are very much ready to provide support or to provide the material to these ministries or the government organizations, for which the GFR, that is the General Financial Rules 2017, they have been relaxed. Thereby now the ministries, government, government organizations, etc., they can procure whatever the material or the items from these new startups as well, rather than the only seasoned MSMEs, thereby providing them with a chance to compete with the experienced entrepreneurs or companies. They'll have equal platform or equal opportunity to prove themselves. Okay, faster exit for startups. Sometimes, okay, even if they have done started the business, or they have started this organization with all the good faith, but sometimes it doesn't click. So in that case, they have to wind up the operations and get out of that. But others, in insolvency process, it takes 180 days, but for startups they have brought it down to 90 days, so that easy exit, so that again if there is any chance, they can come up with some other new idea or business. Providing funding support through fund of funds with a corpus of 10,000 crores through, rather than directly, this is being done by the third party you know, innovative funds. Okay, now this we'll discuss in detail in our tomorrow's class, because this is very very important component under this Startup India scheme. Okay, credit guarantee fund for startups. Now, as we have said, there is no direct financial assistance that is given under this various programs, schemes, or banks, commercial banks. They are nudged, or uh, they are actually, they are the ones who will provide financial assistance. Now they have to be supported, for which credit guarantee fund for startups has also been launched, similar to the one that we have done studied yesterday, the credit guarantee fund for the Stand Up India scheme. Okay, tax exemption on capital gains. Now, for example, capital gains are those what you'll say, say for example, a person, he or she is into the startup business and all that. He has some asset. Okay, long time back only he has some asset. Now he or she is selling that. So what will happen? Profitability will come. So whatever the profits that they are earning, they government tax on that. That tax is the capital gains tax, because they are earning something on that, some they are gaining some capital, so they're taxing that. But for startups, whatever the capital gains that is arising out of the sale of capital assets, there won't be any capital gains tax. This is what government has done very recently in 2016-17 only, that whatever the capital gains that these startups are earning, on that there would not be any capital gains tax, for which they have already changed or amended 54 GB, 54 GB section of IT Tax Act 1961. Okay, now tax exemptions to startup for 3 years. Okay, in that 10 years of from the date of incorporation, the government, that is under DPIIT registered startups, they will be exempt. They need not pay tax to promote the growth of the startups and address working capital requirements. Any DPIIT recognized startup is eligible for exemption from taxes under the provisions of section 56 to 7B of the Income Tax Act 1961 for a period of 3 years. एनी 3 years. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है ना, कुछ लॉसेस में है या कुछ दे नॉट एबल टू पे, ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम दे कैन अवेल दिस. लाइकवाइज tax exemption would be there. Tax exemption on investments above fair market value. Now this is something associated with angel tax. It's called as angel tax. See, what happens is, when it comes to startups, some person, X person, he has started a business. Okay, now he requires funding. Bootstrapping is not possible. Bootstrapping is something where the entire funds would be provided by the promoter himself or herself, and they won't go for any funding from outside. That is bootstrapping one's business. Or sometimes they need some funding from outside. So many a times they generally go for the angel investors. So angel investors are these are high net worth individuals, or they're business class people who already have good amount of money, and they're looking out for some new ventures or good ventures where they can make good amount of money. So वहाँ पे अगर face value 10 rupees per share है, this particular X guy, he will sell that to this person for 20. So the 10 he is making income sort of, that is market rate कितना है उस share value 10 rupees ही है, but he is selling that for 20. So he is gaining, it is above the fair market value. That is, whatever the market value currently it is, that X person is earning more than that. So on that also tax has to be paid to the government actually. But for startups, that is DPIIT recognized startups, this angel tax is exempted. Okay, hope it is clear. Wherever you are feeling doubt, please keep asking me. Organization startup fest for showcasing innovation and providing collaboration platforms. So various government entities, government organizations, they are coming up with different kinds of fest, thereby challenging these startups to come forward and provide solutions to those problems which they are put forth in, that is problem statements. कई मिनिस्ट्रीज भी कर रही है, डिफेंस भी करती है, कई सारे मिनिस्ट्रीज भी कर रहे हैं, so that they can get that solution for the problems. Thereby again they'll be provided with some funding or award sort of, so that that will encourage them to take their idea forward. Launch of Atal Innovation Mission, ये नीति आयोग का है, wherein again it supports the idea of startup ecosystem. Harnessing private sector expertise for incubator setup. So whatever incubators, see, 1 second, just give me a second. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, actually continuously call aa raha tha. Yes, so here, as part of this 19-point action agenda for the Startup India scheme, we are trying to harness the private sector expertise as well, so that we are onboarding them onto the various initiatives or the programs that are being taken up under this umbrella program, that is the Startup India scheme. Thereby these will help in providing mentorship or the support for the either government sponsored or funded incubators, क्योंकि incubators में क्या है, majorly mentorship and help them to take whatever idea that they have onto a large scale. That will require expertise. So sometimes expertise might not, we might not get in the government area only. So here we are trying to rope in the private sector expertise as well, either the directly the organizations or the people from their arena. Building innovation centers at national institutes, thereby propelling successful innovation through augmentation of incubation as well as research and development efforts. So various national institutes now they are coming up with launching their own innovation centers, incubation centers to support these startups. Setting up of new research parks modeled on the research park set up at IIT Madras. So IIT Madras में already एक research park set up है. Based on that, under this particular scheme, government is planning to set up 7 more such parks. This is majorly again to propel innovation through incubation and joint R&D efforts between academia and industry. That is the education industry, educational institutions on one hand and the industry experts on the other hand. Now they are coming together under this particular pact or the parks and thereby working for the solution of various problems that currently various sectors are facing. Promotion startups in the biotechnology sector. This is majorly they are focusing on coming up with bio incubators. Okay, and more than 30 such bio incubators which are focusing on biotechnology centers are being helped under various initiatives, and one such initiative has been taken up by the Department of Biotechnology, where 1 crore funding has been provided to selected 3 bio incubators who are working on various aspects associated with biotechnology only. Okay, उससे ज़्यादा उसमें information नहीं है, this much only that they have given. Launching of innovation focused program for students. Now these programs are being launched majorly. Once we do this, what will happen? It encourages the students to come up with various innovative ideas in the field of science and technology. Like they have come up with initiative like Manak. Manak is something, this is MANAK. This million minds augmenting national aspiration and knowledge. This is a kind of program that has been launched, and along with that some Inspire Awards, Nidhi program, Nidhi Prayas Awards, all these are being or the various programs that have been launched majorly to promote a culture of innovation among the students, especially in the field of science and technology. Annual incubator grand challenges, again these are being conducted so that the successful world class incubators can be created, thereby we can जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स है उसका, जो भी प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स है उसका आइडियाज निकाल सकते हैं, सॉल्यूशंस दैट वी कैन गेट एंड दैट कैन बी रन ऑन ए लार्ज स्केल. ओके, यस, नाउ वी हैव सीन दैट 19 पॉइंटर्स हमने देख लिया है. And as I've said earlier also, these 19 pointer action agenda is being run through various initiatives under the Startup India scheme. Now, there are 3 major such initiatives that you should know under this particular program. See, realizing the action items of the Startup India action plan, government is implementing flagship schemes under the Startup India initiative that you have to study under the same scheme. That's why I have added it here. And those 3 include, अभी तक हमने कई सारे इनिशिएटिव्स देख लिया है, राइट. 19 पॉइंट एक्शन एजेंडा में वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अ लॉट ऑफ इनिशिएटिव्स दैट आर बीइंग टेकन अप बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, राइट. Under that, these 3 are the major programs, I should say. That is Fund of Funds for Startups, Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, Credit Guarantee Scheme for Startups. These 3 are the major programs. And the major objective of these programs is to support the startup at various stages of their business cycle, right from starting, that is launching the business itself, till it is able to raise investment, seek loans and take it on a large scale. Okay. And here these 3 will provide them with support. This one, the Fund of Funds for Startups, will discuss this in detail in tomorrow's class because ये थोड़ा सा lengthy है. We have to discuss lot of points under this. These 2 will be doing it today itself. Okay, you can say these 3 are the components or the sub programs under the Startup India scheme. So the first one, Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. इसमें सीड फंड, सीड दैट इज दे आर इनिशिएटिंग द बिजनेस, सो फॉर दैट ऑल्सो दे रिक्वायर फंडिंग. आइडिया को एक एक शेप देना है उनको. फॉर दैट ऑल्सो द एंटरप्रेन्योर्स दे रिक्वायर सम सपोर्ट, सो दैट इज द seed funding that is provided to them under this particular scheme. And this was approved for a period of 4 years starting from 2021-22. So it means it was run till 2024-25. 2021-22 हो गया 22-23, okay, 23-24, 24-25, so 4 years. So 2024-25 में इसका closing होगा. And corpus is 945 crores. Corpus is something, फंडिंग हमने क्यों नहीं बोला कि कॉर्पस, इट इज इट कैन नॉट ओनली फॉर 1 year, इट वुड बी फॉर द एंटायर 4 years. दे कैन यूटिलाइज इट एज पर द रिक्वायरमेंट. ऐसा नहीं कि 1 साल में इतना करना है, दूसरे साल में इतना करना है. नो, दे कैन यूटिलाइज दैट फॉर द 4 years. एंड दिस इज इम्प्लीमेंटेड फ्रॉम 1st April 2021. And the main aim is to provide financial assistance to startups for the seed, that is starting their business, like proof of concept. एक उनका आइडिया है, now they have to see how it will go. So that is proof of concept, that is a basic model prototype that they have to develop. Prototype development, product trials, market entry, commercialization, all these are the initial stages of any business making. So that they'll be providing support, very very important. And here under this, in these 4 years, they are targeting to support 3,600 entrepreneurs, and that too through 300 incubators by incorporating or funding or providing funding to the tune of 945 crores. And how is this going to run? An experts advisory committee. Now what is this as expert advisory committee? These various stakeholders from different sectors, eminent personalities will be brought in and they form this expert advisory committee. Now this, under the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, is responsible for the overall execution and monitoring of this particular scheme. And here under this, they focus more on the evaluation and selection of the incubators for allocation of funds under this scheme. Now these selected incubators will further focus on selection of the startups, thereby providing them with whatever support that is required by them in developing the proof of concept, prototype development, product trials, market entry and commercialization. SPS, this all is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry only. Okay. And as per the provisions of the scheme, the selected incubators shortlist the startups. See, and based on the parameters outlined in the scheme guidelines, already everything is set up. See, for incubators also they have a set of rules and regulations that needs to be followed. Once that is done, these incubators further select the startup, develop this expert advisory committee that would include government representative and industry experts, okay, different from different sectors, and these are the ones who will develop or who will select these incubators based on their expertise, their experience and various other rules and regulations laid out. And one of those important rule that is laid out for the selection of incubators is that they should be operational for at least 2 to 3 years even prior coming to get funding under this scheme. Okay, and also they should have already assisted few startups and successfully, that too, before coming up and seeking funding under this, because they seek funding and they apply for the incubatorship under this program, and EAC then looks into their application and decides whether to give them or not. After this, these incubators further they will finalize the startups based on, again कई सारे rules and regulations है, based on that they finalize on the startups and start working with them to provide the objectives that we have already seen, that is proof of concept, developing the prototype, marketing, commercialization, all those initiatives. And here one important rule to select the startups is that startup should have been incorporated less than 2 years ago only, not more than that. हम लोग generally startup मतलब क्या है, 10 years from the date of incorporation, right? But here since it is a seed fund, right, seed fund मतलब बहुत initial stages में है, still the idea is in the initial stages, and now they are trying to develop their business, right? So it should be very nascent, it should be very new, so hence it is 2 years only, not 10 years as in the other case where we recognize it as startup and provide it with lots of initiatives or lots of helping hand, right? So please be careful. ये दोनों important points है. That's why they have mentioned it separately. Now third point, 3 हमने देखा fund of funds for startups that we are going to discuss tomorrow, and second is the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, and third is the Credit Guarantee Scheme for startup. Now this has been done for providing credit guarantees to loans extended to those DPIIT recognized startups by various entities like scheduled commercial banks, non-banking financial companies and venture debt funds under the SEBI registered alternative investment funds. Now this again we'll study in a detailed manner because there are various categories in this, and 3 categories रहते हैं इसमें, based on which they provide funds to these startups, and these actually you can say a pool of funds that is pooled by the various investors, high net worth individuals, and they form these alternative investment funds, and these further fund the startups. Okay, we'll discuss about all this in a very detailed manner tomorrow because this again is very important under the fund of funds startup. Okay, now credit guarantee, why? It provides credit guarantee up to a specified limit against loans extended by these member institutions, all these member institutions like say scheduled commercial banks and all these, to finance eligible borrowers. That is, the eligible borrowers are none other than the DPIIT recognized startups, right? So that they can come up with the business. Microfinance, not seed fund SPS, they provide small ticket size loans, like छोटे छोटे businesses होते हैं ना, उनके लिए वो funding देते हैं. They provide fund for them, they finance them. Seed fund for this startups is completely different. They require little bit on a huge scale. Sometimes to see whether it is a scalable product or idea and all that. Microfinance is altogether different. बहुत छोटे छोटे ticket sizes होते हैं उसके. Okay. Yes, SPS, hope I was able to answer your query. Now this credit guarantee scheme for startups is conceptualized or operationalized by the National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited, under which already various other trusts are being run, and it is a private limited company. This also we have discussed in yesterday's class in detailed manner. Kindly go through that once. I forgot to attach that slide here. Okay, along with this, ये 3 initiatives तो है ही. Under that 19-point model that we have already seen, 19-point action agenda, various other initiatives are being taken up. One of that is the launch of the MARG portal, that is Mentorship Advisory Assistant Resilience and Growth Portal, where under this particular initiative it is very close to this your startup hub model only, but this provides only guidance and support to the startup, that is mentorship. Experienced people, experts, they provide mentorship to those people who are struggling in taking the business forward. To establish a formalized and structured platform to facilitate matchmaking between the mentors and startups, that it does. To establish an outcome-oriented mechanism that allows tracking of mentor-startup engagement progress. How once that is done, that is matchmaking is done, mentor हो गया, as per his or her expertise, they would be tied up to a certain startup. Now after that also they should see the progress, how the mentor is providing the support to them and all that. That also can be tracked under this MARG portal. Okay. Other than this, startups intellectual property protection, that is patents, trademarks, and startups, whatever that they are whatever that they are doing, as we have said earlier also, awareness needs to be created, they should be provided support, financial support, etc. As I've said, statutory fee to payable, of that 80% rebate is being provided in filing of patents and 50% rebate is being provided for filing of the trademark. International market access to Indian startup, this is very very important, and for which ये 2023 का data है from May 2023. After that I couldn't get any data, latest data, so I have taken the same thing, wherein the Startup India has launched bridges with over 15 countries, so that this will provide a soft landing platform for startups which they want when they want to venture into the other countries, for which with 15 countries we have already launched bridges. इसमें यूएस का भी एक है, वेरी रिसेंटली दे हैव डन इन डिफेंस सेक्टर में किया है, दैट इट्स नॉट मेंशन हियर. डिफेंस सेक्टर के लिए वी हैव टाइड अप विथ, वी हैव टेकन दिस ब्रिज मॉडल विथ यूएस एज वेल, ओके, फॉर क्रॉस कोलैबोरेशन. Faster exit, this also we have discussed. Notified startups as fast track firms, enabling them to wind up operation within 90 days rather than 180 days for other companies. And एक काउंसिल भी इन्होंने लॉन्च किया है, नेशनल स्टार्टअप एडवाइजरी काउंसिल was constituted by the DPIIT to advise the government on measures needed to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and startups in the country. Now, the chairman for this particular council that has been constituted by DPIIT is the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Whoever be the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, he or she shall be the one chairman for this NSAC, providing advices to the government on how to take it forward or what more initiatives can be taken up or can be taken, so that the startup ecosystem can be nurtured in a much better manner. Self-certification under labor and environmental laws, this also we have discussed that I have shown no, under 9 labor on 3 environmental laws, for the first 3 to 5 years from the date of the incorporation they can have self-certification, but after that they need to get the certification, and because initial times they need to give lot of time to their the budding business, so for which this has been given so that they can engage that time also into their business. Now some latest current affairs. Now India has world's third largest startup ecosystem. And as of May 2023, India has 108 unicorns. Total valuation unicorns are startups only founded after 2000 with a valuation of more than 1 billion US dollars. And decacorn is something, a current valuation of 10 billion US dollars. Cheetahs are those startups, they have that potential to become unicorn in the next 5 years. Then we can call them as cheetahs. Gazelles, these are those startups that can become unicorn in the next 3 years. So these are some of the terms that I kept, while doing this work on the Startup India scheme. I was coming across all this, so I thought why not provide these terms to you. ASSPS, hope you got what is a unicorn and other terms as well, decacorn, cheetahs, gazelles. Unicorn is something with a valuation of 1 billion US dollars. Okay. Now, these are the homework questions, answers to the homework questions that I had asked yesterday based on the Stand Up India scheme. Okay. The stipulation of the loan being expected to cover 85%. We have seen no, only 15% margin money. But in case the project, under the project cost, the borrower contribution along with convergence support from any other scheme, if it exceeds 25%, this would not be applied. This 85% would not be applied. So that is 25%. Which is implementing Ministry of Stand Up India scheme. It is a Ministry of Finance. That is exclusively Department of Financial Services. Now today's homework questions under the Startup India program. Startups incorporated on or after 1st April 2006 can apply for income tax exemption. This we have discussed. Now the recognized startups that are granted an interministerial board certificate are exempted from income tax for a period of how many consecutive years? Randomly nahi hai ye, consecutively they can go for this. Out of 10 years, 10 years में कभी भी consecutively they can take up exemption on their income tax for how many years? Okay, National Startup Advisory Council was constituted by the DPIIT to advise the government on measures needed to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and startups in the country. This is majorly to provide a boost to the startup ecosystem. And now, who is the chairman of NSAC? So these are the two homework questions. You can give the answers in the comment section, or we can discuss the answers in tomorrow's session. So this is all from my end today for this Startup India program. So we have seen Startup India scheme, when it was launched, why it was launched, and what is the current status and all that. Okay, and along with that we have also seen Startup India scheme mein, what is the 19-point action agenda, and based on these 19-point action agenda only various initiatives, various programs, various schemes have been launched by the government of India. Of that, 3 major programs that have been launched, we have highlighted that. Under that, 2 we have discussed today, 1 we'll discuss tomorrow. Along with that, based on that 19-point action agenda, we have seen what are the various initiatives that have been taken. Okay. Yes, SPS. Daily we'll have a class at 4 p.m. अगर कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुआ तो आई जनरली शिफ्ट दैट टू 4:30 p.m. और अगर कुछ रीस्केड्यूल हुआ तो सैटरडेज के दिन. अदरवाइज मंडे टू फ्राइडे वी हैव डेली क्लासेस एट 4 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we'll focus on schemes. Thursday, Friday it would be on the reports, any current affairs based on the demand from the students. Yes, now the forum is open for your queries, questions, comments on today's session, suggestions. If you have any, please let me know. Yes, these are all targeting 2024 RBI Along with that 2024 NABARD as well. SEBI के लिए भी wherever many of the schemes are applicable for SEBI as well. अभी कल जो fund of fund for startups that we are discussing, it all focuses on SEBI only. And please don't forget to like this session and share this session with your friends as well. And don't forget to join the YouTube channel, this one, so that whatever sessions that we are conducting, you'll get a notification of the scheme. At the same time, please don't forget to join our Telegram group so that we can have healthy discussion over there as well related to various aspects related to the examination. Yes. एक पॉइंट मैं भूल गई. When we talk about यहाँ valuation we have seen for unicorns and decacorns. Now what is the valuation for cheetahs? For cheetahs, they are valued at $200 million to $500 million. And when it comes to gazelles, it is $500 million to, it is inching towards $1 billion. Obviously, that's the reason in the next 3 years we are expecting that to become a unicorn. And cheetahs, we are expecting that to become a unicorn in the next 5 years. Right? Yeah, SPS Telegram link. Just give me a second. I'll give it right away. There's a Telegram group link. So this is all from my end. Okay, since I'm not getting any queries as such, I'm winding up the session. Thank you very much for being so patient. I know it's a lengthy session. Normally half an hour से 40 minutes होता है, but it has stretched to 50 minutes. But this is one of the important schemes. कई बार highlight हुआ है since December 2023. It is being highlighted on various platforms again and again. So when such thing happens, obviously that would become important for your examination. Okay, see you all then tomorrow with yet another interesting scheme. So these 3 schemes for this week, completely we are focusing on exclusively on this startup ecosystem of India. Okay, thank you very much once again. Have a great day ahead. Please take good care of yourself. Bye bye.